the New York Stock Exchange. When the funds in your 401k buy or sell stocks, chances are they trade them here or on another big exchange like the NASDAQ. Every time funds do that, brokers charge a fee. It's a legitimate cost, but the funds don't pay it. You do. And here's why that matters. Critics say brokerage fees can double the cost of your funds without you knowing it, because funds deduct this charge from your returns without sending you a bill. When Audrey Ledbetter, a Ford hourly worker in Chicago, heard that, she wasn't just mad, she was
damn mad and pissed off.
That's sweet.
If I figured I could get more money and I've lost it because I wasn't informed because Ford didn't try to inform us, I'd be damn mad.
No.
To learn more about hidden brokerage costs, we headed to Bluegrass Country to talk some more with Dr. Greg Caston, president of Unified Trust Company, and a board-certified anesthesiologist whose chief specialty these days is diagnosing what ails retirement plans. He's assembled a special database that enables him to calculate the impact of hidden brokerage fees in mutual funds.
The hidden trading costs, or these what we call these transaction costs, stem from not the plan participants doing any trading, but the actual managers of the mutual funds themselves buying stocks or bonds as they try to manage the portfolios in an attempt to try to outperform the market, which is very difficult.
What's difficult is also expensive. Only funds don't disclose all the charges incurred when they trade.
It can, in many cases, double the cost that you think is inside of the fund, and it's not uncommon at all, even in very, very large plans, that it adds 50% to the cost.
Ford Motor Company proved no exception. So we asked Dr. Caston to review Ford's 401k plan, one of the biggest plans in the country, with nearly $12 billion in assets. According to data from 2004, the most recent year available, the returns were less than zero, minus 0.4% to be precise. The poor performance was due to a number of reasons, but were hidden brokerage costs one of them? Caston says yes. Caston discovered 0.4% in hidden brokerage costs, which translated into $17.2 million. Over time, that 0.5% can make a bigger difference than you might suspect for each of the workers in the Ford plan.
How much of a difference? Maybe 10% of their retirement account balance when they want to retire. Maybe 15% of their ending balance will be gone because they didn't pay attention to those hidden brokerage and trading costs.
For Audrey Ledbetter, the hidden trading costs added up to an estimated $211.
Don't get me wrong, Ford does take care of us. Ford does give us a decent living. But we still don't want to be shortchanged on our stocks and our retirement.
In a written statement to Bloomberg News, Ford spokesman Tom Hoyt said brokerage fees are difficult to quantify and cannot be avoided entirely. Every 401k plan incurs these types of fees. A spokesman for Fidelity said, "We provide our plan sponsors full information about fees. We believe our fees are very reasonable." Jerry Schneider didn't escape this fee either. In 2007, the hidden brokerage costs in Jerry's 401k amounted to just over $1,700. That's more than Jerry's annual electricity bill. Jerome Schlichter, a St. Louis-based attorney who has given the industry a wake-up call by filing more than a dozen hidden fee-related lawsuits, says it should be easy to report brokerage fees.
Why shouldn't their annual statement say you paid $400 in brokerage commissions last year? You paid 3 cents per share trading costs. It can be done. It's an electronic calculation, but it's not done.
In some cases, disclosing brokerage fees won't be easy. As Labor Department officials heard at a recent hearing in Washington, sometimes funds invest in other funds, and that's when it gets so confusing that even the pros can't track hidden brokerage costs. Every trade on this chart costs money, and you can see how they can add up. These retirement plan specialists from Atlanta show the Labor Department a tangle of investments that resembled, in their words, a Rube Goldberg contraption.
Rube Goldberg, and this kind of goes back into the folklore of Americana, was basically, how do I take something very, very simple and make it the most complicated piece known to man? And we're seeing some of that in this chart.
I can't tell where it starts and ends.
I cannot figure this out, and we advise on plans. That is very scary, that we as advisors, registered investment advisors, cannot figure this out. It's a shell game.
Here's how that game is played. Take Jerry Schneider's brokerage costs, for example. Are they on his account statement? No. His company's contract with John Hancock Insurance? No. Mutual fund prospectuses? Nope. And what about the annual report? No again. They're here in a document called a Statement of Additional Information, or SAI. This SAI for one of Jerry's funds lists the brokerage fees starting on page 118.
The 401k fair disclosure and retirement.
House and Senate lawmakers are so concerned about hidden fees that in 2007 they introduced 3 different bills to fix this problem.
Remember in The Wizard of Oz when they say, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
Because there's a whole scam, there's a whole front going on, and you're not supposed to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. That's what the problem is. So what I think we have to do is pull back the curtain and say, here's how much money your fund earned. Here's how much money the managers took out of it. Here's how much money you got left over.
The bill introduced by the House Education and Labor Committee has already gotten over one big hurdle. In April 2008, it passed in committee, and that was over Labor Department objections.
That participants generally are not going to benefit from voluminous, lengthy disclosures.
The Labor Department wants revenue-sharing fees and other financial conflicts of interest reported, but objects to demands from Congress that all fees be disclosed. The mutual fund industry prefers things stay the way they are now, and critics say that's not surprising. Americans have more than $3 trillion in 401ks, and a big chunk is managed by mutual funds. Hidden fees amounting to just 1% means $30 billion in revenue for the industry. The investment company Institute, which represents mutual funds, is warning that a law requiring the full disclosure of fees could do more harm than good.
It would, at the very least, become extremely costly and difficult for mutual funds to be offered to employee benefit plans.
This debate comes at a critical time. Unless 401k balances climb a lot higher, more and more Americans could be forced to work in their golden years to make ends meet because Social Security isn't enough to live on. And as SEC Chairman Cox put it, pension plans are going the way of the 8-track tape.
Fees can make the difference between having a comfortable nest egg and joining the ranks of the elderly unemployed.
You know, we can't be absolutely certain about a lot of things in the stock market. But the one thing that I am completely certain of is the more the fee I pay for the provider of the product, the less there will be for me.
And Jerry Schneider? He admits he still gets a little steamed when he thinks about all the money he's paid without knowing it. But he says his chief concern these days is for his kids.
The younger generation isn't going to have Social Security. I mean, that's going to get knocked out sooner or later. And so all you have is the 401k. I mean, basically that's going to determine whether you're eating dog food or steak.
If the data from the AARP is anything to go by, some 40 million Americans have no clue what their retirement plans really cost. Jerry Schneider has been paying at least 30 times more than he thought he was paying. Perhaps even more scary is the fact that there's no way to know if you're one of those paying fees that could drain half your potential retirement savings. Because right now, the companies providing the plans are under no obligation to tell you. I'm Mike Schneider. Thanks for joining us.